Nick Saban, Jim Harbaugh, Alabama, Michigan. The Citrus Bowl on January 1st to start next year in Orlando, Florida. I am very excited for this matchup. But people, you're locked and loaded. New week, fresh slate of material, big time energy on the hottest form, best form of Alabama football news, notes, and information in terms of discussion, debate, and conversation. This being, in my own words, the podcast with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. As always, people, be sure to drop a thumbs up on the show, like the show, and subscribe, because what that does for us is that allows us to continue feeding you the best in content in terms of your Crimson Tide. Before we dive into this new edition of shows here, a huge congratulations in order for the Alabama football student athletes. On Sunday, the Crimson Tide held its annual awards banquet inside the Birmingham Sheraton, and the group of Tua Tagovailoa, Anthony Jennings, Devontae Smith, and Xavier McKinney all voted as permanent team captains by their peers for their leadership, their effort, their hard work, and performance, and just what they mean to the team, what they mean to this program. So all four individuals will have their handprint and their cleat print enshrined at Denny Chimes on next year for the A-Day game. So kudos to all four of those individuals. Also, Tua Tagovailoa voted the most inspiring player and the most valuable player by his teammates. So just getting into a couple of the guys that got honored here. You can look at the full list of awards via rolltide.com, but just want to touch on that. But as we now dive into segment one on this week's edition of shows, we get into recruiting as the early signing period. December 18th, we are inching so close to the moment, so close to the day. And what better way to discuss recruiting than to have our guy, the guru, the man, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst who is traveling coast to coast, east and west, tracking the best high school athletes as they get ready to make their college decisions. That being one, Justin Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Justin, you're back on the In My Own Words hotline. How you feeling, man?
I'm doing pretty good today, Stephen. How are you doing, man?
Can't complain here, Justin. It's pretty incredible here just seeing how the Crimson Tide did not compete for, well, they were not in the Southeastern Conference Championship game, not in the college football playoff, will not compete for a national championship, but still everybody wants to talk about the Crimson Tide. And I remember you and I were having a conversation prior to coming on this show. We discussed how the 2020 signing class is already pretty much wrapped up. Now, there's still some guys that Nick Saban and Alabama want to hit on, but for the most part, it's already pretty much set in stone here. But as you look at the signing period on December 18th, who are some guys that will sign early in your mind? Who are some guys that will enroll early? And who are a couple of guys that you have spoken with that, may choose to hold off signing or hold off enrolling until maybe either February or during the summer?
When you look at Alabama's 2020 recruiting class, Stephen, I feel that most of their current verbal commits will sign during the early period, with the exception of a couple of guys like Alabama's 4-star wide receiver commit Javon Baker, Alabama's other 4-star commit and defensive tackle Jason Elijah Jones are a couple guys who I've expressed on the process on my Alabama recruiting show, guys who are not going to sign early. Another guy to look out for who may not sign early in Alabama's 2020 recruiting class is Alabama's 3-star offensive lineman commit Damian George out of North Shore High School in Houston, Texas. George is a guy who's teammates with Alabama's 5-star running back target Zachary Evans. They were once thought of to be a package deal, but now it looks like that may not be possible, with Evans looking at LSU and Georgia more so than Alabama. So I feel that George may hold off his signing to possibly go along to play with Evans somewhere else. Their package deal may happen, but it may not happen at Alabama. But Alabama still is in a good position to hold George. As he said, they were the only school that recruited him individually from Zachary Evans, so that is something to look out for. As far as Alabama's 2020 recruiting class enrolling early, it's a large number of that 2020 class that is going to be in Tuscaloosa in January. You guys can check out that full list on touchdownalabama.com, but I'm going to spitball some names at the top of my head. Sorry if I miss a couple guys, but you guys can check out the full list on touchdownalabama.com. But I know that Alabama's running back commit Wardell Williams will enroll early. Alabama's 4-star wide receiver commit Frustration Holden is another guy who's enrolling early. 3-star offensive lineman Seth McFarland out of Bruford High School in Bruford, Georgia. He will enroll early. Most of Alabama's linebacker commits will enroll early as well, Steven. I think that is something that is pretty impressive about Alabama's 2020 recruiting class, is the fact that most of their linebacker commits are expected to enroll early. Guys like Jackson Braden, Drew Sanders, a 5-star athlete who's projected to play at the linebacker position. DeMoy Kennedy, another 4-star linebacker out of Theodore High School, who I've been very impressed with during his senior season. A lot of the Alabama's linebackers are enrolling early. When you look at the defensive back class, guys like Jacquez Robinson and Malachi Moore have already chosen to enroll early as well.
Live here on the phone lines with Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. If you're just tuning in, talking about recruiting the 2020 class, the early signing period, which is set up for December the 18th. Justin, in your mind, how critical is this for Nick Saban, especially after you do not win an SEC championship? Of course, you're not competing for a national. You are 10-2 on the year, but how important is that pitch for Nick Saban in trying to deliver to these guys, and not just Coach Saban, but everybody that's on the recruiting trail where the staff is concerned? How important is that pitch to these young athletes and telling them that, hey, you may be the missing link, you may be the missing piece in getting us back to the top of that mountain? So how big is that recruiting pitch for the guys in this class, letting them know that, hey, we missed out on it this year, but if you come in, if you enroll, if we grab you, you are going to be the biggest asset to getting us back to where we want to be at?
I think that pitch is very important. As you guys may know, if you've been keeping updated on touchdownalabama.com, Nick Saban and his entire staff is traveling around the country during the week. I know they hit a lot of Alabama's commits and targets during last week, and they're back on the road this week. During this weekend, Alabama hosted a large number of official visitors, 7 in total, five of which were verbally committed to Alabama, 2 of them which were targets. They had a pretty good time in Tuscaloosa based off what I've been told by the recruits and their parents. They got a chance to spend time at Nick Saban and Terry Saban's house, enjoy a big-time family atmosphere with Alabama's and coaching staff and the rest of Alabama's commits and targets family. So I think Alabama's coaching staff is really hitting the recruiting trail and selling that message and also selling the message that they have always been selling, basically telling recruits not really about football. Like I talked to, for example, Auburn's 4-star offensive lineman commit who took an official visit to Alabama on this past weekend, who also got a home visit from Nick Saban this weekend. He said Nick Saban talked to him about things outside of football, not really focusing on football, but focusing on what your life could be outside of football if you choose to enroll into the University of Alabama.
Nick Saban preaching the message of life bigger than football, of gotta have that career lined up in case football does not work out. He has always been one to care and be concerned about the total athlete, that being one Nick Saban. Now, Justin, the one thing that every Alabama fan wants to know, that all fans want to know, and even us in the media would like to know, is among the guys that enroll early, among the guys that say, Nick Saban, you know what? I'm coming early. I want to get a quick start on learning the offensive system, learning the defensive system, learning the coaching staff, learning my teammates, learning the community that I will be involved in. Among the guys that choose to enroll early, who are those guys that you feel like they are going to get early playing time? They have the skill set, they have the talent, they have the ability. They'll be able to pick up the system very quickly. You know, who are those guys that you feel like will get that early playing time upon them putting their name on the dotted line to enroll early?
Well, I think when you look at Alabama's wide receiver position, I think that is one of the more open positions on Alabama's football team for next season, with the fact that Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and Devonta Smith may choose to declare for the NFL draft at the end of this season. So guys like Javon Baker and Thaiu Jones-Bell and Trayshawn Holden will possibly have opportunities to step up and fill a void that will possibly be left at Alabama's wide receiver position on next season. But guys to look out for on the defensive side of the ball, I know Alabama fans really want to see Alabama take another step on the defensive side of the ball next season. A guy who I really like is a 4-star linebacker out of Theodore High School, and Demoy Kennedy, a kid who really can attack the football. He has good closing speed, amazing closing speed. Almost look like he is playing in fast forward and everybody else is playing in regular motion. He's such a talented kid. I think he's someone to look out for. Another guy who I think everyone should look out for is Alabama's 5-star athlete Drew Sanders, a kid who could play outside linebacker, but I also see him possibly lining up at the tight end position if he had to, if that was possibly the case, if Alabama wanted to add depth to the tight end position in that form, if they did not land some of the tight end commits that they currently have on the board. Another 2 guys to look out for, guys who I feel are sleepers in Alabama's 2020 recruiting class. They're 4-star defensive back commits, Jarquez Robinson and Malachi Moore, both guys who will enroll early into the University of Alabama. I know that they may not get the same height that Patrick Sartin and some other 5-star defensive backs got coming out of high school, but I think Nick Saban really likes both of those guys, in Jarquez Robinson and Malachi Moore.
Our own Justin Smith here live on the In My Own Words hotline, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine, just breaking down the guys that he feels upon enrolling on campus early could give a solid impact and push for some playing time in terms of the Crimson Tide. Justin, I know you got the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game coming up. Of course, the Under Armour game in Orlando, Florida coming up, I believe around the same time as the Citrus Bowl. So definitely your calendar pretty much full there coming up on the new year. What are you expecting to see from both of these events, the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game and the All-American matchup in Orlando?
Well, the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game is always an interesting event. Guys get to represent their home state in their particular game. Guys who are representing Alabama on the Alabama side is a pretty nice number of guys. When you look at guys like 4-star linebacker Jackson Bratton, Demoy Kennedy, who I talked about earlier, Christian Story, a 4-star athlete out of Lynette High School who had a monster career at Lynette High School. He now holds the Alabama High School state record for most career touchdowns and most career total yards. I'm very interested to see how Christian Story is used in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. This is a guy who's listed as an athlete. He mostly played quarterback during his senior season in his time at Lynette High School, a guy who I said has thrown more passing touchdowns than many people would expect. He has a nice arm, and it's not out of the realm for him to play quarterback at the next level. A guy who's very talented, as his dad said, and his coach, who is the coach of Lynette High School, he's a guy who could play quarterback at the next level because he hasn't really been trained to play quarterback like some of the other guys, but he still has been able to produce. As far as on the Mississippi side of things, Alabama's 4-star defensive tackle target McKinley Jackson will line up for Mississippi. So I'm very looking forward to the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. But the Under Armour All-American game, this pack of talent is everywhere. A lot of Alabama targets will compete in that game. I think Alabama's 5-star tight end target, Darnell Washington, is possibly going to announce his commitment at that particular event. So it should be a good time in Orlando as well.
Two big matchups in terms of all the high school talent. And our own Justin Smith gonna try his best to be there to collect those interviews, get videos, get photos, get everything possible to check out those guys in terms of players, young athletes committing to the Crimson Tide, and those are looking to sign early coming in for the month of January. Justin, any more thoughts, ideas on your end that you got coming up on your show, the process that comes out every Monday and Wednesday to YouTube via TDA? Any more thoughts from you?
The process is going to come out every week, mostly Monday and Wednesday, if not just on Monday. But as the early signing period creeps closer and closer, I'm going to provide updates about where Nick Saban is, who is coming to Tuscaloosa as the early signing period creeps closer and closer, and some other targets who may jump on Alabama's board who may not have been on their board during the beginning of this recruitment process. But as the early signing period creeps closer and closer, Alabama may increase their push for them. I'm going to keep you guys updated on that on Touchdown, Alabama's YouTube page, with the process.
He's Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA. So happy, Justin, to have you join us live, man. We're going to get you back on soon. You have a good one.
You have a good one too, Steven.
That was Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine, just giving us some news and notes here on the early signing period, which is December 18th, and what he expects to see and get done for the Crimson Tide. We're going to take our first break here on the show. As always, you can download the Touchdown Alabama magazine app for your iPhone if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store, if you got the Android phone. Also subscribe to tdalabamamag.com and Touchdown Alabama Magazine on YouTube. Upon our return, we jump into a conversation involving one Tua Tagovailoa. I know I mentioned earlier that he had the team meeting with draft-eligible juniors, but he also held a press conference on last week and discussed the challenges that are going into a difficult decision that he has to make. So we'll dive into that on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere, folks. You are listening to In My Own Words. What's up, college football fans? You can catch the hottest show in the streets, that being In My Own Words, the podcast, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Subscribe to Touchdown Alabama magazine for the best in Tide football.